Let me tell you why people really fail at moving abroad. It's not the visas, it's not the money, it's something way more personal. And here's the thing, no one talks about it. Wherever you go, there you are. That quote, it might sound simple, but it holds a truth we often run from. No matter where life takes you, how far you travel, you're still you. Your thoughts, your patterns, your history, your hopes, they come with you. There's no escape, only awareness. And that is the real journey. Self-discovery doesn't start when your life is perfect. It starts when you realize you've been carrying yourself all along into every relationship, every mistake, and every joy. So what if the way to truly understand the world is to understand yourself? What if the strangers you meet are mirrors of yourself, showing you parts of yourself that you're not aware of, or parts that maybe you just ignored? What if listening to someone else's story is just as important as telling your own story? In this video, I want to talk about why self-discovery is not just luxury, it's essential to travel. I'll share what I've learned after meeting thousands of people, how their stories shaped mine, and why compassion and empathy are bridges between us all. So if this is the first time that you've come here, welcome to Atypical Vagabond. My name is Carter, and let's go ahead and join in on this little journey. The reality is life isn't always pretty or easy, but when we're truly connected, it's powerful. And that is enough. So let's explore it together. Wherever you go, there you are. It's not just about geography, it's about presence. You can move cities, you can change jobs, you can fall into love. You can run from everything that feels heavy. But if you haven't faced what's inside you, you'll carry that weight everywhere. So this quote reminds us that the external change doesn't always erase the internal truth. We can reinvent ourselves 1,000 times, but until we truly meet ourselves without judgment, without dragging the same patterns into new settings, it's a thing that becomes humbling. It becomes uncomfortable, but the reality is it's honest. That honesty, that's where transformation starts. When you recognize that you are the common denominator in every situation, in every relationship, every fallout, every single breath that you take, you stop blaming the world and you start taking responsibility by asking yourself better questions. Why do I keep on ending up in the same place? Or, changing that question into what part of me is guiding me to be here? And that's the first step for freedom, because the truth is we all crave connection, like real connection. But it only happens when we stop performing and we start revealing. And we can't reveal what we don't recognize. So yes, wherever you go, there you are. And it can feel like a trap, but in actuality, it's an invitation. It's an invitation to pause, to sit with yourself, and to trace the shape of your story, and to find out where the pain lies, where the joy hides, or where the real you has been waiting to be seen all this time. And it doesn't mean we have to have it all figured out. The reality is instant gratification is not where the self-discovery happens. I mean, sometimes you have an awakening and it happens that way, but real self-discovery, the ones that gets into the nitty-gritty, when you're cutting through the onions, there's little layers to each part of self-discovery. That you have that initial awakening, and that's that first layer. But then when you get into the deep nitty-gritty stuff that really makes you feel things, It's the stuff that makes you cry, like that onion when you're cutting deep. When you get to the deeper core stuff, that's where it gets hard. So when we get into those really difficult things of really seeing ourselves for who we are, that means that we need to stop running. We need to breathe and we need to listen. And once we do, we begin to notice how we show up in the conversation. We start to ask others how they feel, not to fix them, but to witness them. That's rare in today's world, but it is life changing because once you know yourself, not perfectly, but with curiosity, with imperfection, you start seeing the world differently. You stop needing to control every outcome. You become more open to the world and become more forgiving of others and to be more aware of your actions. And, it's the way that you speak to people. They change the way others will perceive how you are. And, when we learn how to communicate a little bit better, it softens these relationships. And the way that you handle conflict ends up maturing a little bit better. The way that you hold space for someone else's story, especially when it doesn't look like yours, expands your open-mindedness. So wherever you go, there you are. It's not just a warning, it's a gift. It's a gift of being with yourself so deeply that you no longer need to outrun anything. And that's the foundation of empathy. And that's where connection to others really, truly begins. So for me, I've met thousands of people in my life. And, on the road, in hostels, at airports, in quiet cafes where conversations started over coffee and somehow turned into life confessions. And through all of it, one thing kept hitting me. Every person is carrying something you can't see. Some carry grief like it's part of their body, and others carry joy like a secret they want to share, but they're afraid to lose that joy. And many are just trying to figure out who they are, just like I was, just like I still am. For me, I don't talk about this much on my channel, but as a teenager, I had dealt with drug addiction, and it was really difficult. There's certain things of feelings that I was not willing to come to terms with of who I am, and that being human is to feel and to feel feelings that are uncomfortable, and to be able to learn that other people embraced feelings was a novel concept for me. And that was part of my self-discovery, in the beginning. And as I travel more, there's certain things that I put myself into uncomfortable situations and I learn even more about myself. And, these are not the most glamorous of things. Talking about drug addiction is not beautiful. It's a pretty painful thing to go through. Though it's something that I've gone through recovery and have been able to discuss with other people on a personal level. So if that's something that you would be interested in how to deal with drug addiction, I can make a video about that in the future. So if you haven't already subscribed, please hit the subscribe button, like button, and the bell to get more notifications. And then, I also have a membership page here. So if you really do like what I'm doing, please join my membership, and it helps continue to do what I'm doing here on Atypical Vagabond. For me, self-discovery wasn't glamorous. And, for others, it doesn't start with a big moment. For me and others, it typically starts in silence. I started listening to more people that had done things that I wanted to do, to get off drugs. And, they started talking about traveling the world and giving me dreams. So being able to listen to other people express their dreams and living their dreams has been crucial for me. And that's kind of why I do this, is just to inspire somebody else to travel. Because I think that travel is a great way for discovery, of like new places, but also of discovering new things about oneself. It's going into these unfamiliar places alone with no one around to distract me from myself. And that's when it really hit me. If I don't understand why I move the way that I do, I'll keep repeating the same stories in different places. So I started asking myself questions I've been avoiding for years. Why do I run from being still? Why do I chase connection, but I fear vulnerability? Why do I crave being known, but hide the parts of me that hurt? These aren't easy questions, and they're not pretty at all. But in facing them, I have found freedom. And the more that I sit with myself, the more that I could sit with others, and sitting with them without judging them. There's no need to fix them. Just asking questions of, is there anything that I can do? Just being able to ask for somebody else's needs and not telling them, well, if you do this and you do that, then you're going to get this. And what works for me, that's the thing that I found about the self-discovery. What works for me might kill you. What might kill you might work for me. So where is it in my place to tell you what to do? So I just don't like telling people what to do. I do ask questions, and asking questions helps unlock those dreams for other people. So knowing what people want in life is essential into being present with them, because when they unlock that, they're sharing a little bit of themselves. And when they start sharing a little bit about themselves, that's part of the self-discovery that we're discussing here. And here's the thing. When you show up like that, people do feel it. They open up and they share, then they reveal. And for you, you realize that this is what life is all about. Not being perfect, not being healed, but being real, real with yourself. So self-discovery taught me that I'm not alone, that my pain isn't unique, but also my joy isn't either. We're all trying here, and we're all so much more alike than we think. I began to notice that when I really listened to people, when I gave them space to speak without rushing to reply, they go a little bit deeper. They tell me things that they hadn't told anyone. And I realized it wasn't because I'm special. It was because I was present. That's all. Nothing special. I'm just there. Really, being present is all that most people want. Someone to be present in their life. I remember a conversation with a man in a rural village who shared a story of losing his brother. We were complete strangers. We had no reason to open up with each other. But because I sat there without checking my phone, without trying to fix his grief, just being there, he felt safe. That moment, it changed me. It reminded me that we don't have to be therapists or experts to make a difference. We just have to be human. I carry those stories with me. Every single face, every emotion that they trusted me with, those are the moments that shaped me more than any book or personal growth seminar ever could. Because real growth happens in relationship with others. We're not meant to do this all alone. Self-discovery doesn't mean that we need to isolate. It means that we need to unite. The more you know who you are, the more compassion you have for others who are still trying to figure it out too. Here's the truth. Most people are not looking for someone who has it all figured out. They're looking for someone who's honest about the mess they're in and who's kind even when they don't have to be. It's somebody who sees people as they are, not as they should. And that's what I try to be every single day. Not perfect, not polished, just present. That has made all the difference. Here's what I've learned. Real empathy, it doesn't come from being perfect. It comes from being broken or a little bent in places that you didn't expect and still choosing to show up for others. You can't truly be compassionate passionate if you never let yourself feel. And that's why the deeper you go into yourself, the more you begin to see others not as strangers, but as reflections. And I didn't learn this stuff in books or classrooms. I learned it in the school of hard knocks through failure, rejection, mistakes, all these things that I had to do on my own. And the lessons I didn't want, but absolutely needed, life taught me. And it taught me to feel deeply by first knocking me down. And when I got back up, I carried those scars like a map. Each one guided me toward more understanding and more grace. And when I got knocked down, I'm grateful for the people that helped me back up. And that's why I try to be there for others. Is to be there for when somebody else gets knocked down, that they have somebody else to bring them back up. Might just be for a short period of time, but you never know when being at the right place at the right time is essential for somebody else's survival. And honestly, one of the biggest awakenings for me has come from the punk rock community. The scene didn't just shape my music taste, it shaped how I see the world. Punk taught me that there's no single way to live. There's no one way to respond to what life throws at you. The thing is, it showed me how to question the norms, challenge injustice, and live authentically, even if it meant being misunderstood. It was through that world that I saw the beauty in people living outside the lines, to live outside of the molds and creating their own rules. People finding family and community when the world gave them none. And it taught me that empathy doesn't require perfection, it requires presence. So here's the thing, stories are how we survive. Well, not just survive, but how we connect. It's how we remember that we're not alone in this life. Every person you meet has a world inside them, filled with joy, pain, love, regrets, and resilience. And when someone chooses to share that world with you, it is sacred. It's not just a story, it's a piece of their soul. And that's what I've come to understand after listening to thousands. Each conversation wasn't just an exchange, it was a mirror. And sometimes it was a lifeline. So that quote isn't just a reminder, it's a challenge. A call to stop running and start witnessing. To turn inward, not in isolation, but so you can show up more fully in the lives of others. Self-discovery isn't a destination. It's a continuous act of coming home to yourself again and again. So thank you for being a part of this. Your presence matters to me more than you would ever know. And if you enjoyed this video, you got something out of it, please let me know about what you enjoyed in this video in the comment section. It helps me create better content. I figured that this would be a little bit different than a regular travel blog, but this is just something that was on my heart and wanted to share with you all. And if you haven't already, I hope that you've subscribed. And if not, please subscribe, hit the bell for new notifications. And until then, Atamiya. Take care.